Hey there YouTube, welcome back to part 2 of the Amazon FBA step-by-step video tutorial where I'm going to teach you exactly how I sell on Amazon the whole way from A to Z. So as I mentioned, this is part 2, so if you have not seen part 1 yet, I do recommend taking a step back, going and watch that video, and then coming back to part 2. Because there's a lot of critical information that you need to do in order to get started and to get to the steps that we're going to be discussing today. So I'll put that in the cards above, you can go ahead and watch that. However, for those individuals who have already watched part 1, I'm just going to recap it quickly for you guys and then we'll dive into part 2. So part 1 we covered the importance of discovering why you want to get started in selling on Amazon. This is very important to understand the why behind why you're doing it, and hopefully it's not just for the money. We also discussed how the process of FBA actually works, fulfillment by Amazon, and the vast majority of the tutorial covering how to create your Amazon seller account. So now that we've done that, we need to find an actual product to sell. So this is the fun part, and I'm really excited for those individuals here at part 2. So I have a lot of confidence that just about anybody can sell on Amazon, and I'm really excited that you're watching these videos and you're about to begin your journey in selling on Amazon. Before we get any further though, I want to let you know that this video is mainly for individuals looking to private label their products. Now, for those of you who don't know, private labeling is a pretty simple process, and it's the process that I use to sell on Amazon. So essentially what you do when you private label is you go to a manufacturer, typically overseas, you take possession of that product, you purchase it from them, and then you put your own individual brand on that product. So these products are fairly general. Think of something like a trash can, it's just a piece of plastic, and then you slap your brand on there with a label, and then you sell it in a different market. And that different market here is Amazon. And the idea is you purchase it very cheap from the manufacturer, and then you sell it in a different market like Amazon for a higher price, and that difference is your profit. So this video is for those individuals. If you're someone selling on Amazon and you create your own products, again like paintings or something very crafty or unique, you don't have to watch this video, and I actually recommend just skipping to part 3 once it's available, because this video, it's not going to do a whole lot for you. But if you're looking to wholesale or private label products, this is a critical video that is going to teach you a lot, I hope. So without further ado, let's jump right in and let's get started with the tutorial. Okay, let's get started here, guys. The first thing we need to go ahead and do is we need to go to Amazon.com. And what we're going to do, and it's the first step that I usually take when I'm looking for a new product, is I need to discover that product, one, to begin with. And there's a few different areas that I tend to look in, which we'll cover here in a second. And then 2, I need to understand the competition. You need to understand the competition. There's a few ways to understand what the competition looks like, because if you don't, you may jump into a market or a product that has so much existing competition that it's nearly impossible to sell that product. This is very important, and it's a mistake that I made early on is, I just thought of a product that I wanted to sell. I went ahead and I purchased that, slapped my brand on it, and tried selling it, and I couldn't sell it because there was just so much competition. But don't worry, I'm gonna unleash all my secrets that I have of all the knowledge that I've had over the past year selling on Amazon, and hopefully with your first product you can make a lot of money and become profitable and have a lot of success with it with these strategies. So the first thing we need to do, go to Amazon.com, and what I tend to do is I go to the best sellers tab right here. It's in the upper left hand corner. We'll click that, and this is going to show us all the Amazon bestsellers for any department. I tend to only look to sell in a couple different departments. For this video, we're going to focus on the kitchen and dining right here. There are some departments that I like to sell in, like as I mentioned. So I like selling in kitchen and dining. I like selling in office products, and I like selling in toys and games. The reason I like to sell in these departments is because typically the items that are sold there are fairly small, so it's easy to ship and handle, as well as the products that are really easy to find from a manufacturer overseas. Additionally, these are great markets because the amount of returns is a lot less versus someone who may be selling products in electronics, which are shown here, because electronics, they tend to wear and tear over time, or there's a lot of defects and quality issues in many of the products coming from overseas. I tend to sell in departments that will limit the amount of customer returns, as well as it's easy to ship and handle. So again, for this video, we'll go to kitchen and dining. Look around the departments, see what's best fit for you. This works for me. I've had success selling these items on Amazon, but for you, it might be completely different. Now, what I look to do, what you're going to see here, actually, before I say that, is you're going to see 50 of the best sellers. And what I'm specifically looking for are products that are easy to ship and handle, as well as products that are easy to replicate. And then the third thing I'm looking for is the reviews down here. So I'm looking for top 50 bestseller that has less than 2,000 reviews. And that tells me if once I find that product that has less than 2,000 reviews, it's selling a lot of units, but it tells me that there isn't a lot of competition because it has a very limited amount of reviews. So obviously these first 6 right here, they have over 10,000 reviews. We don't want to mess with anything with that. So we'll keep scrolling. Here's actually one in the top 10. Wow. So these look like cooking tongs. This would actually be fairly simple to replicate. I'm sure there's plenty of manufacturers that produce this product and has less than 2,000 reviews, and it's a top 10 seller in kitchen and dining. And yeah, it fits my criteria. So maybe we'll look into that. Let's look at some other items, see if we can find any other ones that may be better. If not, we'll go down that route. So I'll check mark that. Number 9. Again, all over 10,000 here, 10,000. This is really good. So this is looks like a storage container for food or spices. So they have number 16 bestseller in kitchen and dining and has less than 100 reviews. That's really good. So you'll find a couple, which is some bags here, some coolers. Now I'm gonna stay away from that. All right, let's scroll down, and it looks like everything else has a fairly large amount of reviews. I do see a lot of storage containers, but I think for this, I really like the idea of the cooking tongs. That is unique enough, and it's also a top 10 bestseller. So we'll go down this route. So we'll click this, and the next thing we need to do is what I usually do is I usually just review the page, get an idea, kind of the features. Obviously, this is pretty simple, and there aren't a whole lot of features. But if it was something more complex, you want to understand, what makes this product so unique to sell so well. There's honestly really nothing. It seems pretty simple, just regular cooking tongs. All right. Yeah, let's go see if we can sell a similar product or identical product for these cooking tongs. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go down to the product information, scroll down about halfway down throughout the page, and you'll find this. This gives you all the product information from the package dimensions, the weight, the ASIN, which is your Amazon standard identification number, as well as customer reviews, bestsellers rank, and this is the row that I want to take a specific look at. So I want to take a look at in the department what they're selling. And again, it was the 9th bestseller, and then I want to look in the sub level, one level down. So in particular, I'm looking at just the cooking tongs. So this is the number 1 bestseller in cooking tongs. Now, this seems like a great product, but I want to see how dense the cooking tongs market is. That is what we're going to click here, and this is going to take us to the bestsellers for all the cooking tongs on Amazon. And again, this will be the top 50 on the first page. And what I'm looking for here is a product within cooking tongs. I know we're getting pretty deep in this kitchen and dining. I'm looking for a product that has less than 200 reviews. These are just rules of thumb that I use. See what works for you. This tends to work fairly well for me, but don't take it for granted. So it looks like a lot of the cooking tongs have over 1,000 reviews. Here's one with 550, 460, 273. So this is good. We're already seeing a slight reduction in the amount of reviews, which is good because it tells us that there isn't a whole lot of competition because these top bestsellers on Amazon aren't seeing a whole lot of sales, which is good. Yeah, look at these. So everything's under at least 500 for these bottom ones here. So this tells me this meets my criteria. Here's one with 8. Wow. So what I would go ahead and do now is, now that I see that there are a good amount of cooking tongs that have less than 200 reviews, I see that, all right, this is a market that there isn't a whole lot of competition in. And the last thing I need to do is I need to validate that there are a sufficient amount of sales each month. So we'll go ahead and we'll click one that has less than 200 reviews. First one we see here. That's that's a little different of a design, so I'm not going to click that one. Here, these work. So these are just simple cooking tongs. Looks like you get a 2-piece set in this, and has less than 100 reviews. So what I want to do is I want to come down here, and now we're going to estimate their monthly sales. So we're going to take this department bestseller, which is 4,353. We're going to copy that, and we're going to go to Jungle Scout's free Amazon sales estimator. There is a pro version to Jungle Scout. However, I do not use it. I have used it in the past, but really all the Jungle Scout pro version is doing is exactly what we're doing now. There's a little more legwork and for what we're doing right now versus the paid version of Jungle Scout, but that's what they're looking at. They're looking at the amount of monthly sales versus the reviews, the number of reviews in that sub-level for the departments. So we're doing the same thing, and this is a free version. Let's just use this. So what we're going to do here is we're going to add the bestsellers rank number which is that 4,353. Put that in here. Make sure there's only numbers in there. And we're going to pick our marketplace that this seller is selling in. They're going to be selling in the United States market. And then the product category. This is the department. So this is the kitchen and dining. It is not the cooking and tongs. You won't see cooking tongs in there. So type in kitchen and dining. Now, as soon as we click calculate sales, it's going to look in the back end and determine basically an estimate of how many units this seller is selling each month. All right, and then it's computed. So as you can see, the estimated number of sales per month for that seller for that product is 1,320 sales per month. If you can do a quick check to see how much revenue they're pulling in. So with this product, they have it listed as the 2-piece set, which is what we had clicked, $16.99. So we'll get our calculator here just to get an idea of the revenue. And you guys are going to be amazed. Wait till you see this. $16.99 times 1,320 was what it was. So they're making $22,426.80 per month in revenue. That is not the profit, but that is the revenue, and that is a significant amount. So this tells me, yeah, this is something I want to sell. This is a product that doesn't have a whole lot of competition. This seller has less than 100 ratings, and they're pulling in nearly $22,000 in revenue. That is a good product. I'll also put a link in the description where you guys can find this Amazon Sales Estimator for free, and I really recommend using it versus the Pro version, which you have to pay for. But if you want to skip all this legwork that I just showed you guys how to do, get the Pro version. It's going to tell you the exact same thing, and it's going to give you a score whether or not that product is going to be good to sell or not. All right, now that we decide that we want to sell a similar or identical product to these cooking tongs, we need to find a manufacturer overseas. So I get a question a lot. Hey Josh, how do you actually find your manufacturers? How do you find your suppliers? How do you just get in contact with these people overseas? And it's really simple. I'm sure you heard of Alibaba. So this is Alibaba.com. It's a retail marketplace similar to Amazon in a sense. For products listed on Alibaba, the manufacturers are typically overseas, and that allows you to get a cheaper product and then resell it for a higher value on Amazon. Now what we need to do is, it's kind of funny, look down here, new arrivals, cooking tongs right here. I'm not sure if they knew that we were looking at cooking tongs or it's just a total coincidence, but we'll take it as good luck. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna type in cooking tongs into the search for products, and what you're gonna see is a bunch of different products from a bunch of different manufacturers, and there's a couple things that I want you guys to keep an eye out for. The first thing that I keep an eye out for is I want a product that looks pretty similar to these products that were back on the top 50 Amazon bestsellers. So I want a cooking tongs that it doesn't have to be identical, but very, very similar that we can just put our brand on it and resell it. We don't want to get anything too complex, too out of the ordinary. And this is a pretty basic item, so we should be able to find something. Right here, this looks like a good one. This looks like a good one as well. Same with these 2-piece set here. Okay, now we identified just a couple. Again, you can do this very quickly. We want to see how credible the manufacturer is. So this is the actual manufacturer, as you can see here. I'm not going to try to pronounce all these names. I definitely can't. To the right of the manufacturer, you're going to see their location. So this manufacturer is located in China, and you'll see that's pretty common for the majority of manufacturers here. The next is the amount of years of operation. So this company's been around for 4 years, 1 year, 1 year. I typically look for manufacturers that have been around for at least 3 years. If they're over 5, even 10 years, that's definitely a good manufacturer. That shows that they have a stable business structure and they more than likely have some quality products. The next thing I care about is this money sign with looks like a crown, and this is the trade assurance. So they say here the supplier supports trade assurance, a free service that protects your orders from payment to delivery. You want trade assurance on all of your products. That way there is some assurance that if something were to happen to those products or the quality is just absolutely terrible, you can get your money back. You can send those products back. That is a critical element that you want from the manufacturer. The majority of them do have it, but some actually do not. And the last thing is the transaction level. So the more diamonds, it's kind of like a star rating. The more diamonds, the better. What this takes account for is the amount of transactions that manufacturer does on a certain time scale. And it's based on the history of the manufacturer. Now, this manufacturer, they've only been around for a year. They do offer the trade assurance. However, they've done a very limited amount of transactions. I don't really want to work with that manufacturer. I want someone who has at least 3 diamonds. So for this, I'm not going to give this manufacturer because they only have 4 years of manufacturing, and then their transaction level, it isn't actually that high. All right, here's one that I can already tell just by looking at it, this is definitely the one manufacturer I want to work with. China, 8 years, they're verified, and they have 3.5 diamonds for their transactions. So they have 319 transactions with 280,000 plus products from the supplier in the last 6 months. That's awesome. So we'll click this listing. I also forgot to mention, also keep an eye on the prices. The prices are, they're going to be very, very low per piece. If it's under $2 for this product, I can easily sell it, and we'll verify that later on. But this is a supplier that I think I would go with just based on that quick criteria that I look at. Find what criteria works best for you. These are the things that I value. If you value a manufacturer that has been in business for 10 years, then make that your target. Make that some criteria for your store. It doesn't have to be exactly what I do, but this is just what has worked for me in the past. So what we'll do here is we'll type in the amount of units that we want to order and the color. We can also order multiple colors and sell different colors on Amazon. I'm going to keep it pretty simple with these red ones. And then we need to determine how many products that we want to order in our first order. So what I do is I take 50% of that total number of sales that we estimated before, which was 1,320 sales per month. I don't think that I can, right off the bat, the first month sell over 1,000 units, especially 1,320. So I always take 50% of that number, and that's what I do for my original order. That way I'm not throwing out all this money in hopes that I'm going to sell this. So if I don't sell it, I'm not too far in the hole. So we'll get our calculator out. We'll take 50% of that number. I'm not going to do that in my head. 660 units. So we can do that. And the other thing to keep an eye out for is this customization. So if you want to put your brand on that product and you don't want to do it yourself, you typically have to meet a minimum order in order to get that logo or that graphic customization or customized packaging. And for here, you can see what the minimum order is. So for customized packaging and graphic customization, you need to order more than 500 pieces, 500 units. If you want a custom logo, you just need over 100. So with that 660 units, we're going to be able to do all of this. So that red one, type in 660. Type 660 here, and then don't click start order. And the reason I say that is you can see this price is absolutely absurd. So we're ordering 660 pieces, and that amounts to $739. However, the shipping to the United States is $6.6 thousand. There's no way we're paying that. So what I would do here is I'd contact the supplier, and a tip of advice is that all these suppliers are willing to work with you. So I never recommend actually just going, click start order, and then doing it that way. I always reach out to them, let them know what I'm trying to do, as well as, hey, you guys need to give me a discounted shipping rate. I've actually never seen that absurd of a shipping price. I don't know if it's because of everything that's going on right now. Typically, you're going to spend maybe $1 or $2 per unit for shipping, but for $6,000, that's insane. So what I would do is I'd fill out this, I'd send the inquiry to them saying, hey, this is what I'm looking for shipping. And anytime that I do this, I either get a shipping rate or a discount, because these manufacturers, they really want your business, especially during these times when not so many people are ordering products. So what you do is send inquiry now. They'll get back to you. They'll let you know what the details are. If it makes sense for your business, then yeah, by all means, go ahead and order from that manufacturer. If not, there's hundreds of manufacturers for these cooking tongs, specifically on Alibaba. We can definitely find one. All right, and that wraps it up, guys. So that was a long video just to find a product and find a manufacturer to supply that product. So part 3 is coming out next week. In that part 3, we're going to determine if that product that we are planning to order, so those cooking tongs right there, if it's going to be profitable. And if it is, we're going to go the whole way from purchasing from that manufacturer. And then once we receive it, I'm going to show you guys how to list it on Amazon and get it to Amazon's fulfillment services, their warehouses. So stay tuned for that video. It's coming out next week, and I can't wait to share that information with you guys. All right, have a good one.